What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Card Art Explained, episode 2. I've got Tony Perna here with me, the one and only.
Hello,
we're going to talk a little bit about what Tony's got going on in terms of some exciting news for everybody. And then we have an interview with Tony and Raj after this, so we'll kick off to that. But Tony, why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on? What do you have to announce?
Okay, well, Elaine and I are very excited to announce that we will be coming back to OAX 26. We are very, very happy. The last show was amazing. I don't have anything negative to speak about it. I mean, it was just blown away. And so this year, the next one is going to be even bigger. I'm sure of it. It's going to be amazing. And speaking of that, last year, or the last show, I took pre-con commissions and I opened up a slot for 5. I'm going to be doing the same thing again next year, but I'll be doing it for 10 because the 5 went pretty fast. So I'm going to open it up, see if I can get 10 people wanting to commit. I'm also going to have silent auctions at my table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be drawing on 2 of these cards, uncut Rittenhouse Archive cards from various sets, and each day is going to have a different card, completely done at the table. There'll be a piece of paper. Anybody who's interested can come in. It'll probably start at a minimum bid of 200, and then if people are interested, they can high bid it, whatever. It's something we wanted to try at the show, so hopefully it gets in more traffic, and I can jump on people when they come to my table and whatnot.
Nice. And for anybody who's watching who doesn't know, so pre-Upper Deck, Rittenhouse, who had that license from 2006 to 2015, a lot of their artist proofs were uncut 4x5 sheets like Tony just showed. Yeah. And what that allows is obviously a lot more real estate to do greater and more amazing things. So they really are a wonderful insert. Tony might even have a finished one here to show.
An example of what I'm working on now. So
there you go.
This is what you'd be looking for. So
let me see if I can make you big here. Nobody wants to see me big. There you go.
That's awesome. But yeah, so this is the quality you're going to get. I mean, well, you'll see it. And hopefully, well, no, not hopefully, I will have the pieces done way before the show. So I'm probably going to be soliciting them just to show people what I'm going to have at the table for auction, so they get a mindset if they're interested or not. So yeah, I mean, I want to be really prepared for this. I mean, the first one was a little bit of a hurdle because it was my first time at OEX, and I want to know what was done properly and what wasn't done properly. So we kind of have our bearings now. So we're going to focus on this, the commissions. I'm also going to have that. I'll do another piece for the auction there, the heritage auction. Excuse me. And just again, looking forward to it. It's an amazing experience.
No, it was a great experience. And, I think number 3 is going to be even better than number 2. Yeah. And I'm already looking forward to it. So awesome. So thank you for that. And then we're going to shift right over to you again, where we've got Raj and Tony did a wide-ranging interview about all things Perna. So we're going to head over there. Thank you, guys. And take it away, Raj.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Today we have Tony Perna with us from Perna Studios, and we're going to be doing an interview. How's it going, Tony?
I'm good, Raj. How are you?
Good.
Excellent.
Had a long day at work, but I'm glad I'm here to relax and get to hang out with one of my good buddies.
I hope I don't stress you
out. We're good. So today we're going to talk a little bit about your CAX experience down in Orlando.
Okay.
Sound good?
Oh, sounds excellent.
So, all right. What was the process of you deciding that you were going to go to CAX?
Well, when they had done their very first show in 2023, and I was hearing all the positive feedback from it, and it almost seemed like it was the perfect spot. It was all about the artists and their artwork being shared with people who admire and collect and true fans of the artwork. It wasn't anything to do with cosplaying or toys or whatnot. I go, this was genuinely strictly pure 100% art, which is fantastic. When I heard about that in their first year, I was like just blown away. And it's like, wow, something this close to home, like in North America, because the other one was in Italy that they used to do the Como con that they do. And as soon as I heard about it, I said, I got to go to the next one. I have to find a way to go to the next one. But it made me kind of nervous because the art was more focused on comic book art and comic book artists. But by the grace of God, that I will name Matt Fuller, Steve, and Jose, they added, they brought the idea to Kazra and Bill, and they wanted to include comic art. Card art.
Card art, yeah.
And so they started the section with the card art expo, and I was totally blown away by that. And when I received this invitation, I got this private message by Matt saying, we'd like to invite you and Elaine to be guests at our first CAX. I had suspicions that maybe Matt was just pulling my leg because I've always picked on the guy and I've always teased the guy, and maybe this was revenge.
A way to get back at you.
Oh yeah, that's what I would have thought. And the thing is, I couldn't be mad about that because I've done so much. But he was like, "Yeah, this is legit," and I was like, I jumped at the opportunity. I said to Elaine, I said, "We just got invited to do to go to Florida," and she's like, "We got to do it," and the experience was just amazing.
So, how early in the year did you know that you were going to go?
Oh, geez, I got invited. I almost want to say March, April of last year.
So you had a pretty good amount of time to prep yourself, and
yes, but also they were still kind of putting together the CAX parts, so I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what was
like
expected.
shortly after the tickets were being sold, I believe. So it's like in February, I believe, is when they started selling.
Yeah,
February, March. So that's cool.
The experience was amazing.
Yeah, same here. Totally. It was my first time, and you're probably one of the main artists that I wanted to meet. I mean, not kissing your ass or anything. It's just we built a kind of a good relationship over the last year and a half, I'd say.
We have,
and it was all just so I can get a commission.
Well, you buttered me up pretty good.
No, just like
no. It was believe it or not, it was an honor for me to meet you and all the rest of the people. I don't get to meet, being up in Canada, I don't get to meet fellow collectors and card enthusiasts and artists that much. Probably next to zero, a few here and there, but I mean it was overwhelming, to be totally honest. When I arrived in the villa, and there were all these guys that I've seen online, but I'm meeting in person now, and it's like, oh my God, like, and I was getting confused at one point too, because I couldn't remember some of the names because I was calling people the wrong names. But
it's really hard to put everybody's face to their names because we don't use our actual names a lot of the time, and so I totally get it. I know a lot of people just by their character, so it's even another layer of So
they would have to tell me their user ID, or I wouldn't know who they were. Like if they said, my name's John Doe. Can you help me with that? What's your name on screen?
So I know that OAX, they have a website that they use to promote the artists.
Yes.
And on that website, you can look up the artists and see if they're accepting commissions and whatnot.
Yes.
So how much time did you have, or which I should reword that? How much time does someone that wants a commission from you have enough time to give you notice?
It all depends on when they announce it with comic art fans, and because they were doing it by artists. So when they would invite them on, then they would open up say this artist has commission lists open up. I was more closer towards the end.
Yeah.
Probably near I want to say August, September, maybe even a little later. But once they announced it and they asked me, how many slots are you opening up? What are you gonna provide? What kind of commissions are you gonna do? I opened up sketch cards because I'm known for that. I tried to do larger pieces, larger sketch cards, but they didn't go. It was just regular size. But I mean, they sold out pretty quick though. The spots got filled up pretty quick.
And how many spots did you wind up?
I did. It was supposed to be 5, but it ended up being 7. So
okay, it's not too horrible. But that's a very limited number. So
yeah, to get something that I'm going to take my time on,
and get the quality. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, you get the detail in it. As opposed to what I was doing at the show, which was because of the time constraint, you can only do so much because you want to get as many people in as possible.
Yeah.
So they were mostly just headshots and pencil, a few ink shots.
Yeah. So that's
no regrets though. Free sketch time. It was funny because I approached it because they ask you ahead of time. The organizers, they say, do you want to involve yourself and participate in the free sketch on the Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yeah. You know what? It's nice to give back. It's not about the money you make. It's about the relationships you build.
Yeah.
And so I opened it up, and Sunday, I had a line, and I thought, I'm going to be pretty full for the next hour. But then the line it kept staying the same length, even though I was doing sketches.
Mm-hmm.
So going to the end of the day instead of the 2 o'clock cutoff. And I ended up doing them until 5 o'clock. And as you know, I took them back to the villa and started doing sketches there too, till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Hey, what else? What else are you gonna do anyway, right?
Exactly. I've already met everybody else. I don't need to meet them again. So yeah. but you know what? No regrets. I would do it again.
Did you keep count of how many you actually did?
I lost count, and there were some that I actually forgot I had done. And
I remember one. We were like, "Whose is this?"
It's the Sabretooth. Yeah, because I didn't realize. Yeah, it was Matt Sprunger. He had come up to me and said, "Can you draw a Sabretooth?" But then he had left.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as I was drawing other characters, I said, "Oh, I have to draw a Sabretooth for somebody." So I just started drawing, and I said, "Okay, who wanted a Sabretooth?" And then there was another guy sitting beside me, and I kept accusing him. I said, "You're the one who wanted the Sabretooth." And he's going, "No, I want Wolverine." I go, "No, you said Sabretooth. You can't change your mind." And he's like, "No.
You can't change your mind."
He goes, "No, I said Wolverine." I'm like, no, you said Sabretooth. And he's going, "No, I'm serious."
For people watching, like how the best way it is to approach an artist, to try to get. I think it's always nice, better to treat people like people, right?
Exactly.
And just talk to them and get to know them, and don't just be like, "Hey, man, I want a commission."
Yeah. No, that's true. It's true. And on the flip side, if it wasn't for people being a fan of my artwork, it wouldn't really be as enjoyable for me to do the stuff. Because I'm not going to sit there and just draw for myself. I love to draw, don't get me wrong. But when there's an appreciation for somebody that says, "Oh, I really like your style," or "I love the way you draw this character," it makes me think that everything I've done in my life in regards to my art career was right. And it led me to a good path. And like I said before, I've met so many great people in this niche community of art, collector and artist, and it's an amazing group.
Do you remember your first sketch card?
Professionally or just on my own?
Something that made you money.
The first sketch card that I drew that made me money, oh my goodness, would have been from the Lord of the Rings Masterpieces 2 set.
Wow.
Yeah, it was I was fairly new to the whole sketch card world. It was my second set that I worked on. With Topps, they had a policy that you would draw on all the sketch cards, and you would pick a couple from that would be artist returns. They didn't call them artist proofs; they were artist returns, and you would pack those separately, but within the same box. And I had people that reached out to me right away, willing to buy, and then this was like just blowing my mind. Like, oh, I'll give you $350 for that sketch card. I'm like, really?
Okay.
Really?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, okay. And then I realized, wow, there looks like a big market. There are fans that are hardcore fans, especially when you have that little niche when somebody's, because this was going off to Lord of the Rings collectors, but there's like certain niches. There's Wolverine collectors, there's Batman collectors. I mean,
yeah,
it's just amazing that the love and intent.
It's endless. It's endless.
It is.
Yeah. So the medium of choice for you is pencils, right? Mostly.
Yeah. Color pencil. Yeah, it's Prismacolor color pencils. I started working with them when I was in college, but then I kind of dropped them. I wasn't very good at using them. My technique sucked. I wasn't good at blending them, but then I started getting more and more into it. And finally, it got to the point where I was like, yeah, you know what? It can't be that hard. So I just practice and practice and practice. And then I just got to the point where I was loving it. The control you have with the colored pencils, I mean, and the blending. People on my first sets thought that they were marker, that I was using marker on my cards. Yeah. And I was like, no, it's all Prismacolor pencils. So
yeah, the blending is flawless, man. Like,
I loved it. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Weapon of choice, man. Weapon of choice.
I couldn't appreciate it until I saw it in person. So
yeah, seeing it on screen it's misleading because even the colors are a bit off, and you don't get.
You're just like, I'm like, yeah, I like the pose, I like the way his outfit looks, yeah, but yeah, you can see all the detail that you and all the work you put into it, man.
I'll be honest. That's got to be my favorite Wolverine that I've drawn.
Let's talk about Deviant art and your Perna Studios stuff. We got some new sets coming out pretty soon.
Yes, we do have another set coming out. We usually do 2 sets a year. We do one for the spring and one for the late fall. So our next set coming out is called Creatures of Myth and Legend 2. It's a follow-up to our first set and basically deals with cryptid type things. So you got like your Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster type thing. No UFOs, but like Dover Demon, Jersey Devil type thing. I've always been Chupacabra, yes. I've always been a big fan of that stuff as a kid because it was like that monsters that could actually exist type thing just because of the sightings in that. I'm sure a lot of these don't exist, but just the fact that it's been sensationalized and there's been so much of the sightings of these that you're just like, wow, that's amazing. So we had to put together our first set, and then our second set, we're working on it now. We have some amazing artwork in this set. The artists really outdone themselves again. Like for example, there's a Dover Demon by Frank Kadar, which is an amazing piece. Yep. I mean, this thing creeped the heck out of me.
Really? Seems like it would be hard to do.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, like, my God, I love this. So yeah, this is the dressing on it. So this is basically what people are going to get. This is what the front looks like. Yeah, Frank, I just love the red. So it's very intense, very creepy. We've also got, there's a Michigan Dogman by Benjamin Glendenning. I love his style. He's got that really, really neat and like animated style, and it's always been one of the great pieces. I love this look, but he does a lot of the detail in it. And look at the background. I mean, it's a beautiful piece. We've also got you're gonna know this artist. I probably don't even have to introduce him because he's one of the amazing artists. Fred Ian did the Deer Woman for us. Wow. We are so blessed to that he's willing to do artwork for us. You know, we're a small independent company, but he respects us. He loves the way we treat him. We love him. We love Fred and Ian. Two amazing people. I couldn't ask for more. I mean, the detail on this is beautiful. We give him the specific that, you know, please make sure that her legs are showing because she is a deer woman.
Yeah, you gotta see the deer legs.
Exactly. We also have a we know, yeah, there it is. So Blanche Nault wanted to do the Baba Yaga, and we said okay, and we kind of gave her free reign on what she could do with it. We said, you know, as long as you show her with the mortar and pestle and the chicken house, which I like to call in the background, and she blew me away with this. Yeah. It was amazing. The amount of detail in this, and people, these guys usually sell their original artwork. So, I mean, hit her up. Once once we show her stuff, she can sell it. And I mean, this is a amazingly beautiful piece. Amazingly beautiful piece.
Awesome.
So I don't know if you remember at the con, PJ Katakuten did the Loch Ness Monster P2 that we had sent out.
Okay.
Well, PJ had already done our first promo of Bigfoot.
Okay.
So said, PJ, why don't you just do the third promo for us as well? You know, you can be doing all
keeping a running theme. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So PJ did. We asked him to do the Jersey Devil, and we said we kind of love it when you have that surprise look with, you know, the light, almost like the deer caught in the headlights type thing, and he knocked it out of the park. I mean, this is another amazing piece that, you know, I love the guy and I love his work.
Yeah.
And anytime he's willing to do anything for us, I will accept him.
Yes, you're accepted, PJ.
I have accepted PJ a very long time ago. I would adopt him if I could. Actually, he asked me if I could adopt him, but I would adopt him if I could. And we also have, so we're going to be doing pearl cards, which has like it's like a pearl finish. It's front and back. They were a big hit. They were a big hit on our previous sets. So we got one of the pearl cards is going to be the Loveland Frogmen. We've never had.
Are those like a chase, or they're automatically in the set?
No, pearls are random. So pearls is one every 4 sets.
Okay.
That we do, or one every 4 packs. So because there are going to be 4 chase cards of pearl. So if you were to purchase the 4 packs, you would get the entire set of pearl cards.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah. So yeah, we were really happy with that. Oh, that Frogman that we had shown of Jamie Snell's that we're showing here. This is going to be a metal card. This will be a chase card as well.
Oh wow.
So and these are going to be less because we only print 30 to 35 of each, and they're randomly. So there's going to be 3 different metal chase cards. This is one of them. So they're going to be random throughout the entire thing. So getting back to the pearl chase cards, one of the ones is going to be by Athena Poda, and she did La Llorona. And she's another amazing artist. She is eloquent in her artwork. It's beautiful. I mean, she is. I consider her a master illustrator.
And how many artists do you typically use for a set?
It's usually no less than 70.
70, wow.
So 70 would include artists doing base card artwork and sketch card artwork. So what we did was I had become friends with a lot of these other artists that were, you know, in the industry. And I put a call out saying, listen, you know, me and Elaine want to put a set together. Would you be interested in working for us? We'll pay you what other companies are paying. So we were on par with what Tops and Upper Deck and whatnot, and even a little more sometimes. And our APs were a lot better. The ratio was a lot better for these artists. And surprisingly, they all jumped aboard. And I was really happy. I go, and the first set was when we announced it and said we were doing it and we had a date for our pre-sale, the pre-sale was sold out in 15 minutes. Now, we didn't do, mind you, we didn't do numbers like Upper Deck. We don't do, 5 million sets.
Right.
But
Very
what
limited.
we did was, it was like we couldn't, like there was no way we can do that.
Right.
But what we did was say, okay, we'll divide it into packs and we'll do complete sets. So if somebody wants to buy just a complete set with all the base cards and a chase card and a sketch card, guaranteed sketch cards, you got a sketch card in every set or pack where you bought.
Oh,
so there was no skunks, no nothing. They could just purchase the one complete set, or we broke it up into smaller packs. And each pack got a chase card, a sketch card, a chance at another chase card, which is a metal card, and the first 5 cards of the set. So if, for example, you were to buy 4 packs, we would make sure that pack 1 had cards 1 to 5, pack 2 had cards, 6 to 10. So you would get a complete set. So no repeated cards.
Oh, cool.
Unless you bought 8 packs. 8 packs would you get the repeated cards.
Yeah. Right.
So you would have a complete set.
That's really cool because most people are completionists and they want that everything. They want the complete set, and they don't want to have to keep buying packs until you finally fill it up.
Yeah, we feel the same way. We're like, and Elaine's a big time card collector, and she said, stepping outside of this, I would rather get the entire set with my purchase than having to hunt down these cards. And so we decided, we'll do it that way. Why not? Perna Studios has been going strong ever since 2012. Our next Halloween set, we're actually doing a Witchcraft 2,
cool.
The Covens. It's going to be all females. And we're very excited about that as well. And we have an idea for next spring too. It's going to be mythology, but with a little twist to it. And nothing bad, but we're going to actually put a poll out on our Facebook page. We do have a Perna Studios Facebook page that I encourage people, if they want to know what's going on with us, you have to join the group to see what's going on. And we're also on DeviantArt, Perna Studios. So if people want to check out the new, we're always posting stuff there. We do artist showcase on there. We show all the base card artwork, all the artwork done.
Make sure everybody checks that website out and orders a set of cards. Yeah,
I mean, the artists are amazing. I mean, Elaine and I are really blessed to know so many talented people that want to work with us, and knock on wood.
Who wouldn't want to work with you, Tony? I think it's all Lane. She's
actually
she's a sweetheart.
I'm the puppet.
Yeah,
you pull the strings, and I dance. Yep, pretty much. This is a commission I recently did. So it's on a uncut Rittenhouse Avengers Silver Age sketch, and he said he wanted Zombie Scarlet Witch, and I said, well, can I throw other characters on there if I want? Because I just don't want to have her standing there. And he goes, yeah, if you want. I'm not going to stop you.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, so I'm going to do the Scarlet Witch, and if you look, they're actually attacking the X Mansion because there's the broken wall with the X symbol on it.
Oh, nice.
So in the bottom corner. So yeah, these are all the zombie versions of that. Thor's missing an arm, Iron Man's half a body's missing.
I like all your little Easter eggs you like to put in your pieces.
I love doing that. It
makes it playful and
love doing that. But yeah, this is I'm working on commissions right now. I'm actually concentrating on our Perna Studio stuff because I had to put all we just got all the artwork in for our base cards. So I basically had to put all the images together and send them off to get printed. So it's me doing all that and all the designs.
And what's the release date for that?
Well, we're shooting for the beginning of June.
Okay.
Barring any unforeseen circumstances. I've heard something about our postal services here having issues, and so we're going to see what happens there. But we're going to work as normally as we do work, assuming that everything is going to be fine, and there's going to be no hiccups. So we're just going to continue doing that. Yeah. I just got a message from somebody. Says we should wrap it up.
Okay, we're going too long.
Yeah, for a 20-minute interview.
Yeah, back to you, Matt.
Thanks, Raj. Thanks, Tony. Always great to hear more about Mr. Perna. He seems like he's everywhere today. It was great to meet him at OAX. I've known him for years online as well, and looking forward to meeting him again at the next one in person. Always a great time. We're going to pivot now, and we're going to go and talk about preliminary art as it relates to card art. I don't want to go too much into it, but I'm sure a lot of you on the comic side know that a lot of artists do prelims. It's just as big in card art. Sometimes there are actually specific inserts for preliminary art. Without spoiling it, I'm going to hand it off now to Fausto. He's going to be talking to Ryan, and they're going to educate us on the ins and outs of card preliminary art. Take it away, guys.
Hey everybody, Fausto here with my good friend Ryan. How are you doing, buddy?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good. Today we are on CAF, and we're going to be talking about something pretty amazing. We're actually going to be speaking about preliminary art. So there's a couple of different caveats to this. We have a couple amazing examples to show you. We'll be putting them on screen. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, and then Ryan's going to tell you a little bit about him. My name's Fausto Bonanovo. I also go by Comic Card Hive. I collect Silver Surfer and Marvel cards as well, and I've been doing it for quite some time now. Ryan, give us a little intro about yourself, bud.
My name is Ryan Beckner. I go by supersize_Rye, as you can see on the screen there on Instagram. I am the world-renowned juggernaut collector in our card space, if you want to call it that, or so people seem to think. I collect hyper-specifically juggernaut cards, and today we're going to show a little bit of the preliminary art that I've got for one of those great cards in 2020.
Awesome. Yeah. So both Ryan and I have a couple pieces to show. So we're going to be showing that artwork. I got a couple historical items as well, things that I've found online, archives of other PA things, kind of give you a little bit of a history from the Marvel card vantage point of getting a piece of original art from a pack of cards. And that's going to be pretty fun. We also have Matt Fuller's amazing piece from Dan DeSanto's prelim. So we'll show that too. He's here in spirit, so we're just going to show it. Okay, so let's start. Let's get into this. So first off, what's preliminary art redemption, blah, blah. I'm new to this. I don't know. So
let's start. If I may, I think that we should take it back even a step further for some of the people that may be viewing this that aren't really familiar with the card side of stuff. What is a redemption card to begin with? I think is a better place. Just respectfully, just want to say that because like some people may be like, what is this? So a redemption card would be a card that you get inside the pack pulled, or inside the pack, and you pack pull it. It would have a code, they have different ways of doing it now, QR codes and stuff like that now. But back in the day, you have to send the card in to redeem for whatever it is that they would be offering as the redemption itself, right? So we didn't really see that pre-90s, but in the 90s, you started seeing it for sports cards, and then that carried over into Marvel cards and non-sports and stuff as well.
100%. And in Marvel specifically, and I'm not sure if I'm remembering this correctly, but the first time you could get a card in a pack and redeem something, right, which is that redemption card, was 1996 Marvel Masterpieces. And I'm going to go share my screen here real quick so you guys can see. This is the original sell sheet for Marvel Masterpieces 1996. And here, right here, Masterpiece Paintings redemption cards. And there might be redemption cards in Marvel cards before this, and I'm just blanking, so my apologies.
What about the Sketchographs had some as well, I think, right, for a different thing. But
yeah, so Sketchographs are 1998.
Oh, that's later. Sorry, this is before that. You're right. Yeah, this is before that. Then okay.
It's crazy how it was before. So basically, you would open packs, open boxes, blah blah, and you had a shot of getting one of 9 cards, these specific 9 cards, and it was approximately 1 out of 60,000 packs.
Pretty good odds.
Pretty, easy stuff. You can do that in a night. Not a big deal. But it's a pretty epic piece of historical card in our hobby in Marvel cards. But this is how you do it. And then basically the card, from my understanding, and you do not have a picture of it, would be, it would be a card that would reveal, hey, you won, congratulations. You turn it over and it would have the contact information. Now, even though I don't have a picture of one of these cards, I do have something from 1998 that I can show you. So let me go ahead and get that up there for you as well.
That was a pretty strong list of characters there too, man. Those are great redemptions.
Crazy stupid strong list. I'm always really shocked that those paintings were kind of just up for grabs.
Yeah. Well, back then people wouldn't have understood what they were, though, right? Like it wouldn't have been as probably revered as it would be today. So
no, and it's 1996 at this time for Marvel, right? Everything's on the down. So and this is an extremely premium product coming out at the time where everyone's kind of exhausted by cover variants and all the extra gadgets and variant covers and all that kind of stuff. And Marvel's kind of about to hit a huge kind of bump on the road in terms of selling and stuff. So I think this was like a major incentivizing kind of kit. Yeah. So this is 1998 Marvel Creators Collection. And basically what this set is, you had many different types of cards. You had insert cards, you had regular cards, base cards, blah, blah, blah. A particular insert from this card was called Sketchboard. And these were all drawn by Mike Wieringo, an amazing artist, historically a famous artist in terms of Marvel Comics, obviously. For all you CAF fans, you guys know who that is, obviously. But he did this whole insert set, which was really cool, and it was just his sketches. So I have a little video here, and hopefully I don't go too fast. But you can see that's the promo card, I believe it was. So you can see it on the back. And then you have a checklist card, and then we're in it. Now, each one of these characters, and I believe, and I always mess this number up, is that in total there were 24 of them. Looking at my deck now. 4 colors of each one. There was Cyclops, and I'll go through the characters briefly so you guys have them. But Cyclops, Wolverine, Black Cat, Captain America, Black Widow, Incredible Hulk, Thor, Daredevil, Angel, Black Panther, Ghost Rider, Nova, Invisible Woman, Maggot, Morrow, which is pretty cool to see, Moon Knight, Punisher, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Adam Warlock, Sabretooth, Submariner, Phoenix, and Psylocke. And what's pretty cool about this, which is what we were just seeing on here, which I'd love you to take a look, Ryan. You ever look at the back of one of these? I don't think you don't have Juggernaut on here, right? No.
No, there's Juggernaut's not in there.
No, he's not.
No, Juggernaut's not in there. No, correct.
Yeah, I'm jealous Surfer's not in here, but Surfer's actually on the back of the sketch cards, but I guess they just never used.
Yeah, that art for it.
Yeah, so heartbreaking, but it's actually one of my favorite sets.
So this is where you got the instructions here then, huh? This is your old mail-in redemption here. So exactly. Collect all 24 sketchboard cards and win a limited edition Spider-Man card signed by Mike Wieringo and Stan Lee.
Yep. That's it. And you would get that. Now, the hardest part about this is getting card number 18, elusive number 18. And card number 18, which I did a video on my channel on Comic Card Hive. You guys can go check it out there. It was a card that was just as impossible to hit as like the Marvel Masterpieces Art Redemption card. Very few existed. Only 100 exist. I've only ever seen 15. I had this card at one point. A friend needed it for the collection. I ended up selling it to them. But I did keep what they redeemed. And what you redeemed with this card, and now just to take it back real quick, you had to collect all 24 plus the Spider-Man and then redeem it.
Now, is this, remember it's all 24. Is it all 4 colors? Is it like, is card number 2 have, is there 4 parallels of number 2? Okay.
There's so apparently, and I believe this, and I might be wrong in this, there might be a better, bigger collector, which I'm sure there is out there, who's like, there are 4 Spider-Man colors. I've only ever seen 1. Okay. So of the few I've seen that exist, there's only ever been 1 color of him, which makes sense because they only made 100 of the card you would get after you redeemed it, which is the dual auto. And I'll show that to you guys now.
Okay.
Which is the dual auto, which is really cool too. One of my favorite cards of all time. And this is what you would get. So this would be the thing you redeem, right? Now, why are we talking about this when we're talking about art and redemption cards? This is kind of getting into what happens in 2018, which for the first time we see a complete set similar to sketchboards, where they did a complete run, 90 base card run of prelims from all the art pieces in the actual set for masterpieces. So
Yep.
this is kind of just like a little bit of a primer to where they pulled this history from. So here's the Spider-Man. I don't know if you want to see the back. I'm sure you've already seen that card.
Yeah.
Ryan.
Yep.
But I'll show you guys the back so you can see the congratulations and all that kind of cool stuff. But there you go. So pretty fun.
Be interesting to know how many of those are in circulation, just for.
I've only ever seen, apparently they did 100. We know that for sure.
Okay.
But I've only ever seen like 30 of the dual autos and less than 15 of the non-autos.
Yeah, how many actually got redeemed? Yeah, would be like more accurate. Yeah, for sure. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. And we don't know if maybe what happened is we know Stanley and that's on card. Both of them signed it. So we know 100 were signed. We know. Let me put that in quotes. We know 100 were signed. How many were redeemed? I'm sure were less than 50. And on top of that, I think what happened is that the stack that was signed was sold later at like an auction when Skybox and Impel went out of business, which is what we perceive is happening with a lot of these cards and how they get out. Yeah. So you got that. You ready to talk about masterpieces?
Sure. Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay. So did you collect heavily on 18? I know your boy's in there.
No, Juggernaut is not in 2018. I've yet to forgive Simone Bianchi for that. I'm gonna have a word with him about that at OAX whenever I see him. But Juggernaut is not in 2018 in any like not in the battle spectras, nothing at all. So there was no traces of Juggernaut in 2018 whatsoever. And it's a damn shame too, because I think Bianchi does such a good job with Colossus, and it's a similar character structure. And it was a pretty big bummer to see that there was nothing there. So
he breaks my heart, man, because he didn't do Surfer either. So you and I both were asking on this one.
Huge bummer, man. Yeah, huge bummer. I thought he had a pretty good catalog of characters. Otherwise, it's always interesting to see what the artists select as far as some of the like the lower tiered characters and stuff. See who they fit in there. I thought he did a good job. I thought it was cool that he added Misty in there for this set. She traditionally, or Colleen, have not really been in any of the Masterpieces sets. Otherwise, as far as I believe that's the only appearance of her. I mean, there may have been a 2016, but I don't think that there was. But
I'd have to look it up. She's not someone I regularly look at, but Misty in this set is actually just a very beautiful. It's a really beautiful card.
If that OA ever comes up, I might look into that one, but that would be the only one I'd be interested in for that set. So.
Yeah, it's one of those things where that I always love this set. I love it so much. And anytime a piece of art comes up, and by the way, if you guys don't know, Matt Totillo is a fantastic person. If you don't know him, he represents Bianchi and just always has amazing art from that artist and collected 18 around the same time that we were all doing it as well. So very much rooted in the card hobby world and an amazing art dealer now. Here are not all. Back in the day, I was chasing 18 pretty hard. Because I was such a fan of sketchboards, I went really hard on 18 because I love the set structure. And PA, it's amazing.
It's the first callback to that too, really, I think, as far as really, I'm trying to think of like any other sets in between there, but there really wasn't anything. I mean, now we get, like the illustration boards and things like that and like beginnings and stuff, but like that's the newer beginnings, not like the 2011, 2012 era beginnings. But yeah, I really don't think there was anything else like this up to this point, was there? Like there wasn't
nothing.
Really, yeah.
They played around with it a little bit here. I'm sure I'm not remembering something. But they didn't really go too crazy on this stuff. And what I really loved about this was the fact that you could pull 90. It's not like 5 cards or 1 card or whatever. You know what I mean? Like these are original pieces of art that you could get from opening packs of cards. That is a massive thing in my head. You know what I mean? Like especially how so many people understand what it takes to actually fight for these things sometimes, which is such a pain. Yeah. You know what I mean? But these are all images I've scraped for years now, looking for one. Luckily, I was able to find the one I wanted originally, which was a Magic. So I'll show that in a second.
And so just so people understand what you're looking at in the background of our screen here, like these prelims were actually put on the cards as an insert card, like as in like the card is like called the preliminary art card. It's like a parallel, I should say, instead of an insert. And so like the cards themselves have all of these images on them. And then, whatever the pack odds were, you could pull a redemption card that would allow for you to get one of these pieces that Fausto is showing here as the actual artwork for the redemption itself. Now these were random. They would have like I don't know if were these ones QR code or did they just you just mailed the card off and then they used
I have a picture of the card. I'll show you guys now.
Okay, so so you don't know who you're getting until it comes, which character you're getting until it comes to you in the mail, which is a bit of a. So I think some people like that, and then some people don't really like that. It's kind of just where you kind of fall on that spectrum of that. But okay, yeah. So it was like a text code or whatever, and then it would be associated with whatever character, and then they would mail it to get it in the mail, and then you would have that original preliminary artwork. So,
and they did come in the mail like this in a top loader, just so people know. I don't know how many people are obsessed with knowing that, but now you do. Where you would see them like this. Our buddy Graydon. Couple other really amazing pieces.
Does he have that? Does he have that, Bianchi?
I don't think he does.
Oh, okay.
I actually don't remember where it is. I'm going to see if it's on my list because your crazy friend here actually kept a list. There's the Misty, which was super beautiful.
Yeah, man, that's gorgeous, man. And just I know I said at the beginning I hyper collect Juggernaut. I also am a big Daughters of the Dragon. I collect a lot of Colleen Wing stuff as well. So that's why you hear me deviating from that a little bit here. You might be wondering, like, this guy said he only collects Juggernaut. What's he talking about music for? But I do. I'm a big fan of the Daughters of the Dragon, Colleen Wing, and stuff too. So I have a little.
It's pretty amazing.
Only other comic storyline I really follow that much outside of the X-Men stuff. So
it's cool. I had this one. And then I sold this to a friend, our buddy Steven. And then I got this from a friend because this is the one I was originally after back in 2018. I'm sorry, Spidey.
Yes.
I've always been a huge fan of X-Men, and that magic piece is amazing. The other one I love is the dagger. But the Shadow Cat's really nice too. I know where that is. A lot of beautiful pieces here. But yeah, a lot of beautiful pieces here. But so that's 2018. I'll show you guys the magic that I have, but you can see that it matches the card. Now here's something you guys should know about this set. This was the first time out the gate that they went ahead and did this thing where you had the 90 card set, which you can see in the back image there. You can see all the cards. Those are the actual cards. They look like this. I have a master set here, and you could see that they're actual cards.
Okay? Yeah.
Now here's the kicker. Unlike 18, 20, and 22, the art pieces you were redeeming didn't all match the card.
You said unlike 18, but this is 18.
I mean, unlike 20 and 22.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Not all of them matched. So you could redeem a piece of artwork that didn't match the card.
Now, were there any that weren't characters that were in the set?
No. It was everything that was in the set. It was that Simone does multiple prelims at a time. So he'll go from a thumbnail. So most artists, and I'm not an artist, but this is just what I'm aware of, speaking to Dan, Palumbo, Bianchi, all this stuff, is that the art that they do is that everyone has a different process with their preliminary work. Simone very specifically does these thumbnails, and he does multiple thumbnails on one page. I actually have an example of one here so you guys can see that I was very lucky to get from his sister Gloria, who's absolutely amazing. And this is an example of what that would look like, right? His earlier thumbnails, his earlier prelims, he would do 3 to a page. So I was able to grab this X-Men one. Then what he does is he moves over, if he needs to still figure out something with the anatomy, the pose, structure, you can see all that work being done down here. He'll move to another prelim, which is the magic you saw there, right? Trying to work out the kinks. And then it's onto the bigger piece, and there they go. He does a lot of these. So Upper Deck didn't take the time to pair them with the cards all the time. So sometimes you get a prelim that didn't match the card, but it'd be like an earlier stage or even a later stage, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, you can see that in the Kingpin, I think, there whenever you were flipping through those. The Kingpin looks like a much later stage than a lot of these. So
yeah, the Phoenix is too. The Phoenix is a massive piece, and I think he sold that piece and didn't give it to Upper Deck, but Upper Deck printed it on a card. So they did a different Phoenix. You know what I mean? Like there was a couple of those accommodations. So anyway, so that's what I had on that. I'm going to bring up your pieces because you're next now.
Yeah. So 2020 was the concept is exactly the same. You would get a card in the packs. You would send the card in for the redemption. As you can see, Bianchi's were sketches. They were more sketch based. Dave chose to use paint as the media for his preliminaries. So you can see here, all of them were actually just miniatures of the exact same image that he did for the original paintings, but they were done with these red and black and white tones like this. And they had one for each character of the set. And again, they are printed like this with the reds, blacks, and the whites on the cards, similar to the background that you can see here on our video, like the Bianchi ones that he did. So the card would look just like that. It would have like the Marvel Masterpieces logo in the bottom left corner. But that's the gist of like what the card would look like. And then whenever you would mail this in, you would receive the painting in the mail, and then you would get the certificate of authenticity, as you can see that I have framed below there. Sorry, the photo's not that great. I have a hard time taking good photos without glare, but that's the gist of it. I have it framed. I have it hanging up with the rest of my Juggernaut original art there, or whatever. And everybody considers 2018 to be like the big deal with the first redemptions and stuff like that. I personally thought this was like a really classy touch to do them this way, the way that Dave did this. Dan's that we'll talk about here in just a minute, which was the 2022 set, he went back to the same structure of it that Bianchi did, with it just being like a sketch of what the painting would become. I thought this was a nice, like, high class touch that Dave did for this set specifically here, and I'm very, very proud to have this one. I've told Fausto this before. I think that image there that Dave did for Juggernaut is the best Marvel Masterpieces image that we've ever gotten for Juggernaut. I would love to have this original painting one day if I could ever find out where it is. But but this is as close a runner-up as you can get to having the original there. So I'm very happy to have this. So I just don't think it gets much better than that as far as Juggernaut artwork. So.
It's gorgeous. It's a beautiful piece. It really captures the character. I love the angle of the street. I think it's just great, man. You
can't see it in this because of the tones and stuff, but like the background, there's a bunch of fire and destruction and the actual painting and stuff. And I think that just, like you said, it captures the character so well. Like, a lot of the other images we get is, like Dan did him busting through a wall, which is a very traditional image that we get for Juggernaut. Several other cards that Juggernaut have that same theme. Grego has the exact same theme in the 2024 set where Juggernaut's busting through a wall or whatever, and I think that Dave added a little bit more flair to it, really just gave it a little bit to put it over the top. So.
And I think it's a great piece. I think every artist does prelims differently, right? They all have their different kind of work ethic and process, not work ethic, but process is really the right word, where they kind of move through the pieces to figure out certain things. And that's my favorite part. Like, I'm a huge fan of vintage sketch cards, Surfer and just seeing them, really, because I like seeing that they're actual sketches, right? Nowadays, they're fully painted. There's a lot more going on. That's not really preference-wise. I want to see conceptual stuff. I don't want to see finished product because I'll just save that for the card. Either way, it's amazing.
And again, this video will probably be showing more to like a comic art fans audience. So like the earliest sketch cards that we see in our hobby are mostly done just pencil sketches, similar to the prelims that you see here. Whereas what Fausto was just referencing, now nowadays you have people that are doing mixed media, you have people that are doing full paintings on the sketch cards, etc. So that's what he's talking about there. Is like it's a very big callback. Some of this to like the very, very beginning of when sketch cards first came into inception there. So.
Very much rooted in history, which is why I always love that. We've talked about that before, right? An insert having, or a parallel having, kind of resonance, you know what I mean? To like call back to the history and homage, if you will.
Absolutely.
So let's go ahead and take a look at Matt's stuff, which I am looking all over my screen for and found. Let's go ahead and take a look at Matt's beautiful piece. Talk about that. I do not have a Grego prelim. Did he do prelims or no?
So there are prelim cards just like these, the ones that we're seeing here in the background as part of like the parallels of the set. However, I don't know if I've seen a redemption, and I don't think that there was any redemptions for like when I've watched a lot of the Grego OA reveals and stuff like that, and he only has ever shown the original paintings in any of the videos that he did. It was only just the paintings themselves that he showed.
Yeah, I can't recall, but we'll wrap this up with Dan's. I want to make sure we get under the time limit here. So Dan, this is the Redemption preliminary art card. This is the card you would get. Matt got his signed, but again, it's this code that you would do the scratch off for.
Yep.
And then this is the piece framed, which is Rogue, which is a little blurry, but that's my fault. But it's a beautiful piece by Dan. It's an actual gorgeous pencil. That Dan did. And Dan did all of them in this pencil structure as well. And of course, you got a COA with the frame as well. And then this is what the back of the art card would actually look at. So you could see all the details there.
Also, one thing about Dan's that I thought was really cool, if you see those, like when they actually came in from the mail for the people that got these, they had like a custom frame that was on them that had like Dan's logo on the bottom of it, which I thought was a really cool touch to that as well. It's great to see Matt's framed up and stuff like that, but it would have been cool to have like one of those images of that so people could see it too. But he had like a very cool design like with it and stuff. So
he definitely did, and he put a lot of work into. He wanted to make sure that it was as clean as possible. Like I've seen Dan's earlier work, especially since I was with him during the process of him kind of coming into, doing Marvel Masterpieces, which was just a great honor. And he, had all these thumbnails, he had like a sketchbook filled with multiple thumbnails, like card size things to work on sizes, multiple different versions of different characters. And he really wanted his prelims to look extremely clean. And when you look at the card, that card looks very clean, white. The lines are solid, and he did it purposely that way so that when the prelims came out, people would have a really clean rendition of a piece of artwork that price difference is kind of crazy. You know what I mean? So, and of course, getting anything that's one of one is always a difficult chore to do. But yeah, so that is a kind of a little bit of a tour of preliminary art cards for everybody there. But so give me some final words, man. What are you thinking? What, anything that you're thinking about this that people should know?
Well, I mean, this could have been the end of this. This is also something that like we're in a weird spot right now where we're transitioning to tops and stuff, and like these redemptions that we had here. I know that at some point in time there probably will be a Marvel Masterworks coming out of tops and stuff, but who knows if those will have any sort of redemptions to them at all. So there may not be. So
it may or may not be. Also, too, like it's really amazing that to take it even a step further, right? Let's say a set does come out. What if the artist doesn't work in this way and does a prelim like that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, a lot of the last, Matriarchs was probably 50% digital. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot more digital stuff that went in that direction there. So yeah, it very well could be. So
very well could be. Yeah. But I appreciate all of you being here. Ryan, thank you for coming on, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Matt, for having us. Cashra, you guys rock. We're so happy to be doing this for comic art fans. I hope you guys learned something at home. If you need anything, ask any questions, hit up Ryan or me on Instagram. We're around. We also have CAF profiles there. But thank you again, and hope you have a good one. Bye, everybody.
Awesome. Thanks, Fausto. Thanks, Ryan. Really appreciate you guys taking the time to talk about preliminary art. It really is a wonderful kind of subclass of art within cards, and especially when it's in an insert like in Marvel Masterpieces. I'm actually, as you can see, reorganizing my walls as always. I've got some of my Palumbo prelim art that I'm trying to get up. I'm a huge fan of it. Got some Bianchis and some Dos Santos as well. Just such a fantastic, and I think in some cases underappreciated insert. So really great to hear about it and see the love you guys have for it. That's going to do it for this episode of Card Art Explained. As always, I want to thank my co-hosts who really made this happen. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch. If there's anything you want to hear about in the next episode, send me a message, or anybody who is here, and we'll see if we can't make that happen. Speaking of making things happen, I'm going to do a little fetch here and try to make this happen. So remember, don't be a base, don't be a chase. You're a one of one, so be the GOAT that you are. See you guys next time.